Ella, I was going to call Tony and Terry, but I don't have their phone number.
What
should I do? Screen the good game?
I'll call Lou. Karen, if you
Thank
can
you very
call the
much.
All Reds.
I'm not hearing anything.
Okay, I will do it.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll call Lou.
I think there's a loose connection someplace. Just heard a little.
The only thing I have is a landline and it's no longer in service.
Uh-oh.
Um,
Okay. I don't even have that.
Where's Bruce? He's the one that did this now. It's his fault. Where's he at?
I know, no. Call Bruce first. He might be having difficulty.
Holly's talking.
Yeah.
I hear you, Jim. I'm sorry you can't talk to us.
Yeah, I could hear him just a minute.
Yeah, we can hear you, Jim.
There isn't anything to prompt me to turn the audio on.
There's Bruce.
All right.
Maybe leave the meeting and come back.
Yeah.
Let me see if I
He's
can
here.
get Lou.
We can hear
I'm
him.
going to leave the meeting and come back in.
He just obviously can't hear us, I guess. All right, you got Bruce. I will call Lou. Good morning, Bruce. Okay, well, you're there. I show you're being connected right now, so hang in there.
Okay.
All right. Oh, I hear you now.
Oh, I just heard his voice.
Bruce, we do not have the All Reds phone numbers. Do you? Because they're not on.
I'm not sure if I have them or not. Let me check.
Okay.
Well, I don't even have my POA directory upstairs. Everything's downstairs. I'm upstairs.
They're not in the current one, Grace.
Yeah, they
Okay.
are not. I
I
don't
don't
have
see
them.
their names.
All I have is their email.
Okay.
Hello, Bruce. There you are.
All right. Well, I've already started recording, so we need to move forward. It's 10:04.
Okay, 10:04, and I just want to call this Special Projects Committee meeting to order. Everyone, just a little preface of what this Special Projects Committee, here, I'll high pitch. Let's stop, okay? What the intent is to work closely with the marketing committee and to try to get out in front of some of these items, the 12 items. That was me. I apologize, Holly, I still had you on the phone. To get out in front of the marketing committee and get some of these things implemented. What we did over the last couple months, the Special Projects Committee members, is reached out to the community and to ask them, what do you see that needs to be done? What would you like to see be done in our community? And we compiled quite a list, and then we amended that list to try to identify priorities. And we came up with 12 items that we'd like to attack and get done so that we can, when the marketing kicks in gear and we start generating interest in Sky Valley, that the place, it looks sharp and it's a good, strong first impression. Most of these items will require little to no funding. Some of them will, and as of late, I've gotten some emails about the pond and the dam over by the post office. And I would, at this juncture, defer that to the mayoral committee, because it would require capital funding to implement those issues there. It's a Merrill Trust property, and I know Bill Oliver is in contact with Harrison Merrill Jr. on a regular basis, and that is something that we're reaching out to Harrison to see if we can come to agreement on what his plans are for Sky Valley, if he's going to be involved, and what he would be willing to fund, because it's a big number. What I've understood, and there was a survey and a proposal done in 2017 indicating that to dredge that area, and this is in 2017, would cost about $250,000. Now, my understanding also is there may be some issues upstream of the pond and the dam. Of course, I haven't seen any costs to repair the dam, but it's something that we're working on, the council's working on, and that will probably fall under the purview of the mayoral committee. Now, I'll go down through the list. I'm not sure whoever's on, if they have all the, the priority lists that we have, so I'll go through them right quick. Number one, maintain the walking path in the associated park, which would entail work or benches, maybe shade areas, some water, the swing sets maintained, but the committee and some of the people in the community get together and see what we have to do, what the needs are for that area, and see what we need to do to make the changes. And the second was—
Bruce, can I
Yes.
interrupt for just a second on that first item?
Yes.
I've asked Ella to look into the swing sets and the ground underneath the swing sets to see if we can put some sort of material down so that it's not so muddy, and maybe replace the swings, and also to look at the park. The picnic table has a bench that's broken, and so she is looking into that with the city workers.
Excellent. So, I mean, I think some of these things may be already in place, and that's good to know, Holly. And I know the second was dog park, and I think I'm going to go through these, and I know Jim Curtis may have some information and want to address that as well. Number three, enforce the 9/11 address numbering for all Sky Valley residents. 4, front entrance lighting. And I'll go into a little more detail and get some feedback from the community on that. Clean the mildew off all the Sky Valley stone signs, one on 246, one on Mud Creek, and look at those and see what, basic landscaping that we can, dress up those 2 signs that'll allow low maintenance and give a good first impression coming up the mountain. Install.
Can I interject something on those signs? I've had Bob to go out and take some photos of all the signs. There's some of those signs, like the one in particular on 246 that is the club sign. That is not a city sign.
Well, that's good to know. But regardless, we can address the club. The whole intent is to make Sky Valley, with the club, the city, and the timeshare, from the time they come past the overlook into Sky Valley, to shine and look real sharp. So whether it's the club that needs to come out there and address it, because if you've seen it now, it needs some work, and that's some things that will. Our intent is to make that happen. Continue to clean garbage and streets on the roads leading in and out of Sky Valley. Stay in the overlook fence to cover the graffiti,
Okay.
and maybe add some ground cover or something to make that area pop a little bit.
Okay. While we're going through, I'll just tell you what I've done on that particular one. I actually have samples of the stain colors. If someone would come by and select the one they'd like, a couple of you can come by and decide which one. It needs to be a darker stain, preferably a brown or something to that effect. So
Right.
I have samples. If y'all want to just come by and pick out the color, that'd be fine.
Excellent.
can
I
move forward
appreciate it,
with that
Ella. And also, since we're on that, if there's some kind of ground cover, whether it be pine straw that would match the city hall and the front entrance, but something to make that area pop and look sharp. And Ella, maybe we could put up some signage discouraging people from damaging city or private property.
Okay. Yeah.
And I know,
Yeah, because I had talked with Doug about this, and we can take care of that.
and also in that, I'd had some feedback as maybe putting a garbage, something to dispose of garbage that would possibly be bear proof. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's a reality.
Well, we did look into that, just to give you a heads up. We did look into that when we redid the fence some time ago. They are rather expensive. If this is something one of the clubs would like to assist the city in, we would glad to do it, but they are very expensive to do those. They're about $1,000 to get a good one that's going to hold up.
Right. Well, that's something we'll look into, because a lot, these things that we're highlighting are going to benefit the city, the club, and timeshares. Okay, the next one is, speaking of timeshares, coming in on Sky Valley Way has become somewhat of an eyesore, and I understand it over the years. There's been a lot of discussion about it, and I'd like to see now the discussion end and fix that up.
Okay.
It's nasty, and I know everybody's over the years pointing, it's not my job, but as a community, it has to be a community effort to clean that area up. And so in the days to come, let's talk and see how we can jointly make that area look good again. Same thing with the facility over next to the dam by the post office.
Okay.
That's in dire need, but that's one of them.
Okay, I've got Shelley here. I asked her to join in on this meeting, so I noticed you had 2 items with timeshare. So I've got Shelley here to make, so she can, I have her mic so she can make comments.
Excellent.
Because I have
Well,
reached out to her.
good. I'm just going to finish the list, Ella, and then we'll go down through each one and see what people's comments and ideas are on it. Electric vehicle stations, and all I'm going to say on that is that was brought up by a couple of people that they'd like to see. Now, I know that probably would benefit the club and maybe the timeshares more than it would benefit the city. So any funding that would be put forth on that would have to be, graded to who would mostly benefit from that. And I've heard feedback, from the U-Joint and some businesses down the mountain said that having those EV stations has really helped their business. I haven't done any research on it, but it may be something we want to discuss and say, yeah, let's pursue it for maybe the club and or timeshares, or let's move on. But it was something that people in the community were interested in, so I added that to the list. And the last one is identify some common areas, and that we could do some minimal landscaping that would, just enhance the whole experience of visitors and the community of driving to and from their homes. And the one that I kind of highlighted was that area by the Big Rock on Ridgepole and LaBelle Circle. It's kind of a landmark in an iconic area. And I think we could do some simple landscaping. Again, maybe just pine straw, some rhododendrons, some evergreens that would require very little oversight, but would, increase and enhance the experience of our visitors and prospective buyers. Okay, back to the walking path, dog park. We've made some headway on that, as Holly said, but Jim?
Yes.
Did you want to comment on that? Any
Well,
suggestions or any
just-
details?
Only that, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm turning everything up. Go ahead, yeah.
Okay. Regarding the walking path of the park, there are a lot of details that we can take care of at the park pretty quickly. I think the big one would be the centerpiece of the park, which is the lake behind the dam. It's a real focal point, but basically we've never had the engineering study done as to how much it would cost to repair that. The estimate you mentioned was just for the dredging and didn't have anything to do with the structural problems at the dam. But we need to do something soon on that, simply because it's about to erode on the far side of the dam into the park, in which case the stream will just run around the dam and we might as well not have it there. Anyway, moving on to the dog park, I think the key thing there is to finding a location that everyone is happy with. The planning that's been done so far has sort of concluded that you want a small dog area, a large dog area. It needs shade, needs water, needs some benches for people to sit on. A preliminary estimate has come in for about $15,000. And that was with what I thought was an overly large dog park, just to put a ceiling on the number, so that when we actually came up with some design specs, that it would be lower than that. And those are my thoughts.
Okay. While we're still on this, let me check to see what the chats are. Question time by American Mayor Committee on the Pond. I see this one from Rudy, and everyone, Rudy's saying, question, can a timeline be established by the mayoral committee concerning the pond? We are already 3 years since the survey was taken and no action. There may be stimulus or grant money. And Rudy, I guess, I don't know if I answered that earlier, but that is something that I'm sure that the mayoral committee is addressing now. So if you could kind of hold that, but it is something that we are aware of and in pursuit of a solution, because it definitely is something that we've got to address here in the near future. Carla Stahl. Oh, people who aren't speaking need to mute themselves. Large field by the pickleball parking. Oh, Carla Stahl's saying the large field by the pickleball parking could work as a dog park. Is that feasible? Ella, I guess.
No, we do not have a lease on that property, no.
Okay. So the answer, I guess, on that is no. That's all on the chats I have so far. The next item on the list is the 9/11 address numbering. I'm sorry?
Is that I guess, when you said enforce that, is there really a code that says it has to be those specific ones, or just that pertaining to size?
It's a Rabun County ordinance, and I have a number. You have some options as far as what that sign's going to look like. And I have a phone number here if you want to take it, and it's for the 9/11 mapping office. And they can give you all the details of what that entails as far as what the signs look like, what the post has to be. And my understanding is that they will install it. And
They
I
do.
think, I'm sorry?
They do.
They install it, and I think the pricing was around $60. But call them and they can give you a whole lot of detail. And I think it's important that the city comply with that, if for no other reason, for safety. But it's aesthetically pleasing to come through Sky Valley and see uniformity on some of these signs, and obviously will help the 9/11 responders to find everybody here. But we can have a discussion on, we want to go with one size or one style or another. I'm a little OCD, so I like everything to look the same, but it's not mandatory. In communicating with Barbara Kobacker a couple of years ago, she got together with her street there, and they all did it at once. And there is an economy of scale that if you have a bunch of them done at the same time, you can whittle down that $60 or whatever the number is, and make it a little bit more financially feasible. But the number for 911 mapping is area code 706-782-7579. And be patient. I've gone back and forth, and I don't know how many people are working there now, if they're on a short, a skeleton crew, but they can give you a lot of good information on what your options are and how to comply. And I guess on that, yes.
Bruce, could I suggest that you write something up in summary of what you've just talked about, and send it to Karen, and we can incorporate all that information into the next Sky Valley Times that comes out this month?
I will, and actually, what I'm working off to, I'll just show you. I don't know if you can see. Ella gave me this, and there is a flyer that Ella, you have available.
Yes, we do. And actually, this was included, the form that you have there was included with the Sky Valley Times last month.
Yeah, it's true. Well, we can maybe remind people.
And so that we can maybe see if we can push this forward a little bit. If whoever or whomever is interested in this, I think it benefits the city in a lot of ways. But if you could let me know, yeah, I want to do this, and we can come up with a list of names and addresses and see what kind of number we can get, a cost number, if for these people that want to do it. And I would urge everyone to do it, because it's something that benefits everyone in the city.
Let's see, there is a note here. Carla Stahl said she did it and she said it's about $125 made and installed.
And that's to install the post and everything?
She says many have the green state from them already.
Yeah,
So she has one that she's already put in.
so that's good
The
information, Ella.
cost is determined on whether you want a one facing sign or a double facing sign. There's a cost difference there, but it's no big deal.
Yeah. Okay, very good.
Bruce, as
Yes.
much as, I think voluntary programs work a lot better. Maybe we ought to try that for a while, but eventually we could also, depending on how folks feel about this, make it mandatory in the sense that we wouldn't issue a building permit, an occupancy permit until such time as the 911 signage is installed. We just make that part of buying a house in Sky Valley.
Yeah, I like that with realtors. Ella, let me ask you that this was implemented a couple of years ago. I don't remember exactly when. Any idea how many homes already are in compliance with this?
There's quite a few already because they do serve as the 911 addressing system. But yeah, I think they actually do. They're supposed to face two ways, is my understanding. And let's see. Yeah, they're supposed to be on both sides for the 911. So when they come out, they can see it from either direction, is my understanding. Because if you have it, say like for instance, you have the sign facing the house here, sometimes 911 will not see it, but if you have it on both sides, they can see it from either direction. So that's what they recommend.
Okay, very good. Any other questions or comments on the 911 signs? Okay, I saw that. Okay, we're good. Any other comments on that before we move on?
What would be the possibility, Ella, that we put a little blip about this in the city water billing?
Yeah, we have this little section and she can add that to it when it comes out later this month, first and next month. We could add that to it as well. Make sure you have your 911 sign.
Great,
Call this number to have it installed. We can do that.
thank you.
And
Grace?
Ella, could you
Yeah.
get a list and, so we can negotiate on price?
They're not going to negotiate.
Oh,
No, they won't. They're very adamant. They're mapping because it's actually through mapping, and they're mapping and sign department. They're probably not making a whole lot of money on it now between the time to make the sign and install it. What they like to do, I know Barbara Kovacker had done this earlier and had been working on this. And what happened is that they got a bunch of people, like on Pleasant Mountain, to come in and add the signs to their locations. And they came in and they like to install more than just one sign because it's not, it's not easy for them just to come up to do one sign. It's more beneficial if they can do more than one.
right. So if we could have, a time period for people to sign up so that, they can come up and do several at one time.
Yeah, I see Barbara is here. Let me unmute Barbara so Barbara can tell us what she did, because hold on just a second. Okay, Barbara.
Can you hear me?
I can. Go ahead.
Okay.
We can hear you and see you.
Oh God, no, don't see me. It's a great project, but the money is a sensitive point with your residents. Keith Younger lives here in Sky Valley. And what we did is we said, we're going to do the whole street, which is about 20, 25 signs. We're an old street. And we got to do one-sided because we're a dead end. They just come in. So some of ours were one-sided. The two-sided, we talked him down to $90 a sign. The one-sided, we talked him down to, I think, $50. But come and look at Pleasant Mountain, especially in the evening. And those signs were designed by a fellow in Sky Valley. They have an SV and a gold zing on it. Ken Smith designed them. He was a photographer up here years ago. It's a great thing, but I think you're going to have to almost break it down into pieces, like sections of Sky Valley, because number one, you got to PR it and talk people into it, and it's easier for 911 instead of going all over. But it is a worthwhile project. But because it does cost the residents money, you really have to PR it as a street project or a Southwoods project or something. Then you'll get people to say yes, yes. Those who didn't want to do it, our street collected money and paid for their signs. That's how we did it. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Barbara. Moving on, the next item, the front entrance lighting. I've gotten a lot of comments and feedback that sometimes at night coming from both sides into Sky Valley, that they go by it because it's just not, it's not lit up that well. And that could we look into getting some lighting that would enhance and open that area up without getting into the low light Georgia night sky rules. Have you looked into any or gotten any feedback or information on that, Ella, as far as?
No, I have not, because I wanted to see what you really were, what your goal was to go here. I have not looked at this, but one thing we do need to take in consideration with the amount of money that we spent on landscaping, and the guys have been working on the sprinkler system. We may have to do it like on the outsides and not particular in the island. It may benefit us to do it out that way. What I can do is get a hold of Georgia Power and see if they offer any type of, actually it's called a street, it's not a street sign, it's more like a yard lamp. Because we wouldn't need, you know, something just real huge. And like you're saying, anything LED is going to be bright, but we just need to make sure if Georgia Power has anything, because that would benefit us most. Because if we have to hire a contractor to come in, we'd be better off to just pay Georgia Power to come in, because they will maintain them. So let me reach out to Georgia Power and see what they can do for us.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Ella. The next item is the signs. I don't know if, I think the front entrance, from what I understand, the stonage on that has been pressure washed. I'm not 100% sure that the other two signs, the one on 246 and the one on Mud Creek, but those two areas, it seems like we could, as a community, improve the appearance coming and going out of Sky Valley for not a big financial burden. And I'd like, you know, to get some feedback either from the landscaping committee, so that whatever they're going to implement, that there's some uniformity of what we do with the signs, the front entrance, the overlook, and City Hall, so there's kind of a continuity of our landscaping.
Bruce,
Yes.
Bruce, can I make a suggestion? I know that the Sky Valley Garden Club is celebrating their 30th year anniversary this year, and they want to develop some projects to spend approximately $3,000 on projects to beautify our city. Possibly, you could contact Cheryl Beckert, who's the president, and ask her if she would like, if the committee, if the Sky Valley Garden Club would be interested in these two projects.
Okay.
As far as landscaping.
Right, and I will. And
Okay.
Would Steve Rickman be a good one to talk to?
Certainly. He's part of the city's landscaping committee. So if you'll contact Debbie Dahlhouse Curtis, she's the chairman of that committee. She'll be glad to get them together and give recommendations for plantings.
Okay. And you know, it could almost be, and I wouldn't I mean, personally, I wouldn't mind putting some sweat equity
Yes,
in, or whatever it would take to make it happen.
right. I think that we have a lot of citizens that would be willing to do that in conjunction with the garden club.
Very good. Um, Next item, or let me see, are there any comments? Okay.
No comments. I've got somebody that's Mike that's got a lot of background noise that you can sort of check around because it's going to mess up the recording. Somebody's got a lot of background noise. I don't know if it's Jim, is it you? Because I don't have anybody else that's got anybody else in the room.
Would you like me to mute it?
No, I can
Give it a
mute.
try.
Yeah, I'll mute. Okay. All right, I got you.
That's a lot of
It was
control,
you. It was you because it stopped.
Alex. Well, it'd be hard because you've got your earphones on, so you're forgiven, Jim. The other one I think, is ongoing. Continue to clean garbage on the streets, coming and going. It seems like it's an ongoing issue with contractors coming and going, stuff blows out of their truck or it's just intentionally thrown. But that was an item that a lot of people had. It was a hot button for them, so I thought I'd just bring it up again.
Now,
Staying on.
Bruce,
Yes.
will you organize, usually in the spring, at least twice a year, the city organizes volunteers to do that. Would your committee take care of that?
Yes. Yes.
That would be great.
Bruce, just give me a date or so, and we can send out a notice on that for a cleanup day
Okay.
and that morning or something. And we can get you vests and that kind of things.
Very good. The overlook, we've pretty much discussed that. I mean, are there any other questions and comments about maybe suggestions? Ella, you said you've got a couple stains picked out.
Yeah.
Should we put some signage and, or, maybe look into purchasing, find some funds to purchase a garbage receptacle? I've seen them in the state parks.
Yeah, they have them. They're just, like I said earlier, they're just rather expensive. But I mean, if that's something, y'all want to look at, I can get some pricing and we can go from there. As far as pine straw, my guys can put out some pine straw. We don't need
Yeah,
to get
and
Mark
just
to do that.
put some, kill the weeds, and that'd make a big improvement down there, and maybe some signage, don't be doing this.
Ella, what would be the cost to empty this garbage whatever container?
Well, we'd have to have it empty probably about every day, even if it is bear proof. We all know bear proof around here does not mean anything. Well, like we've had lately. So I would recommend that we just have to, have someone to stop by and empty it every day is what we'd need to do.
Okay.
And there'll be certain times of the year we probably would just, maybe put something over it and say it's not available, especially when it's peak season for bears and such. We would have to do that and just sort of close it off. But I'll look and see what we can come up with and see if there's something that's going to be feasible. A lot of times at these roadside parks is, that you see, they have them, but a lot of times they don't even pick them up and it gets to be a mess. So I don't want us to get in that situation.
No, true.
It would have to be anchored down, and different things. So, but I'll check into that and see what we can come up with, because it needs to be a good size too, because everybody will stop when they empty the car.
Yeah.
Any trash they have in there. So we need just,
Yeah.
just need to make sure we get what we need if we're going to put one in.
Very
Great.
good. Thanks, Ella.
You're welcome.
Okay, the next one is time. 9 and 10 are, I guess, both dealing with dressing up the timeshare facilities, coming into Sky Valley and over by the pond. And who, I guess, Shelley, were you going to comment on that, or did you have any
Oh, yeah, I appreciate it. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. How is everybody?
Fine.
Doing well. Doing well.
Both of those, I know everybody's concerned mainly about the maintenance building, and that is on our project list within the next 6 months. But as most of you know, right now is a hard time for timeshares because of the situation where we've been closed for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So that is on our project list. The playground will come first because that's going to be outdoors and that's going to get more traffic than, but I did talk to my maintenance department, and that is the maintenance building is on our project list and will only take about a week to redo and paint and get it cleaned up for you guys.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I know that's been a hot button, Shelley, for a lot. I'm sure you know.
Yeah, since I've started, that's been on my main objective, is to get that taken care of, but projects, are prioritized.
Yeah, and it's everybody benefits. The city benefits, timeshare, and the club. So it seems like the finger gets pointed at timeshare, but
Oh, yeah.
if there's any way that we can all get together and facilitate that, we'd like to see that get taken care of.
We have a company coming in when we open back up. Many of you may not know, we're opening back up May 29th. Our amenities may not be opening back up just because of the CDC guidelines. But we have a company coming in trying to sell all of our empty units. So we want it to look as good for the city as we do for timeshares.
Thank you, Shelley. Thank you very much.
I have a Robert Smalley. The container on Mud Creek Falls seems to be good. I have no idea what cost or how often it is emptied.
Yeah, I just sent him a message, a private message, and told him I would check it out today and see what it is.
Very good. The electric vehicle stations, you will have to have discussions on that and see if, like I say, it probably benefit the club and timeshare more than the city, I guess, at this point. But we can talk and see what that would entail, if it's something that really is people are wanting to pursue, or they want to back burner it. But I think we should have a discussion on it and see what everybody's thoughts are, because I have my, what information I've gotten, but I don't have all the information on how much they cost and how important it is to commerce. Or,
Bruce, could I make a suggestion that at our next special projects meeting, we invite Moody Barrick to come in, because he's done quite an extensive study on this.
Excellent.
On this issue.
Okay.
Yeah, I think part of the advantage of it is that there's a book that lists all the places where you can recharge your electric vehicle. Now, maybe there's not a whole lot of electric vehicles out there right now, but if we get on that list, we're likely to get some visitation that we wouldn't otherwise, who would get to see Sky Valley, maybe come stay at the timeshares, maybe end up buying a house someday. So, it's not at the top of my list, but I think there could be some good spinoffs from it.
Yeah, I think it's worth a discussion, or further discussion. And the last item, I think we've kind of covered in when I was saying, are there common areas in throughout Sky Valley that, such as the Bell Circle rock, that we could adorn to where it looks sharp for people visitors and residents coming through Sky Valley in that area? Or are there other areas that we can landscape, do some simple landscaping that really makes a difference in the area? And that's something that I think we've pretty much discussed and talked with Cheryl and Steve Rickman, and see what the costs are and can we make it a community project. And that's all I have. Are there any
Bruce?
questions and comments?
Bruce, I'd like to ask our audience members to, look around their part of Sky Valley and see if there are other spots besides the one at LaBelle Circle that are both prominent and have a little space around them that would benefit from landscaping. I know our landscapers are good. The sunny plants, the shady plants, I think they can custom design something for a lot of places. Find them.
Low maintenance, winter color, and just add to the Sky Valley experience.
Particularly low maintenance for some of those that are out of the way.
Again, that's all I had. Anyone else? Rudy, since that's not bad from being the chair.
I thought I saw Terry and Tony on. Are they still on?
Yeah, they are. For some reason, I can't get them unmuted. I've tried 2 different ways. Do y'all have yourselves muted?
Not anymore.
Okay. Good deal. It was you then, huh? Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have some comments, y'all. Since I had to step back from being chair of the kudzu eradication committee, has anything been done?
No, I can tell you it has not. No, we have not done anything. No one. I mean, we're
is there a
committing it to death.
Yeah. I mean, is it even possible to eradicate that? And is it kudzu? Is it actually kudzu, or is it a different kind of vine?
I think they came up with something, since Rudy is on here, I'm sure he can vouch for this. He had done quite a bit of research and they did a couple of different test areas. I don't know what the state of North Carolina used last year, but whatever they used,
Yeah.
it worked.
It
It worked
did.
very well.
Yes, it did.
And I don't know what it was, but if we could get some of that, we may get some good progress out of that. Because when it killed it just now is starting to come back.
Could you
Rudy-
add that to your ever-growing list, Ella, to find out what that is?
But
Rudy, you generated interest. Thank you. Now, what about landscaping, working on the benches on the trail in the falls area? Is that intended to be on the trail, those benches? I'm not sure if I understand where that is.
only thing I can think of, if they're talking about the land, I'm not sure which one they're talking about. Because there are, there's a picnic and a picnic table, garbage can, and I think there's some other things down there on the trail now. Now, 'cause when we-
Rudy just said on the trail, Bruce.
on the trail.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of benches there that are just sort of rounded logs, and you have to be careful when you sit on them because they're going to rock.
Yeah.
You could end up down in the creek if you're not careful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're not really stable.
They've been there for a while, so they're showing some wear.
Yeah, when we did some cleanup last year, we were going to try and do something last year for the 200th anniversary. And, we went and spent about a week down there doing some upgrades and cleaning up.
Yep.
So that was one thing we had done last year.
That was good.
Yeah, that was good. The guys right now don't have time, but maybe something if we could get a community project going, we can send something out.
About approximately how many benches are we talking about? Do we know?
I can
Just a
say 2 or
handful.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not many. No, when you go down, you'll see. You can pretty much see them because, like you said, if you go back one step too far, you're going down the side. We don't want to see that happen either. So that's the other thing. I'm going out later today in that area. I'll check that out as well and see.
Okay.
Thank you. And I think a community project for that would be great. Somebody would donate some benches. That would be great.
Yeah, and I've got some things that, you know, I can probably pull for some companies to get us some ideas if they don't want to do wooden ones and want to do some type metal ones, that you could maybe put a concrete foundation to make them stay so they
Won't disappear.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
that'd be
'Cause
great.
you'd
Ella.
have to do that. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll look at that. I'll add that to my ever-growing list.
Yes, add that, Ella.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions?
Let's see, I got one more question. If timeshares are opening up, does that mean there's no more 14-day quarantine? No more 14-day quarantine, sorry. I have not finished reviewing the governor's orders, but I think he still is requesting that people over 65 still maintain the 14 days.
No, what the brand new, excuse me, Ella, what the brand new governor's executive order that came out yesterday, it pretty much talks about, let me see, I've got it right here. He doesn't call it quarantine, it's called shelter in place for vulnerable population. And vulnerable population is defined in this executive order is anybody 65 or older and or has chronic illness. So that he's still saying that we need to shelter in place, effective until June the 12th.
I have a comment. Ask for bench designs from our community. We have many creative people here who may want to help. Come forward. But,
And when those people come forward, maybe we'll get some really nice rustic designs that will fit right into our wilderness trail.
mhm. Well, very good. Everyone, I appreciate everybody's time, comments. Ella, thank you very much for your information.
You're welcome.
And everyone have a safe and prosperous day.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.